Okay, so I'm about to show you some different types of wraps. There are a whole range of different wraps. There are, I guess, more straightforward ones. There are more complicated ones. Some that'll offer a lot of support, some that'll offer less support. Now, that'll really, what you end up going for will depend on what you're trying to do, you know, whether you're mad about getting maximum support from it, whether or not you're just doing a training session and you want something you can put on, you know, quickly and get rid of quickly. One of the things I will say though before we start is that we've got a chalk bowl here, and one of the reasons for that is that one of the most uncomfortable things you'll experience when you knee wrap is getting a pinch of skin. And so you wrap around and you'll feel a little pinch there. When you go to do your lift, when you go to squat, that's probably the last thing you want to have in your mind. So the chalk itself will stop the wrap from slipping. So this is one of the things that I learned from some of the top powerlifters in the world. They chalk their leg up, then they wrap, stopping the wrap from slipping and then avoiding that pinch.
Awesome.
Okay, but so you can chuck a little bit of, particularly around the back of the leg. That tends to be the worst and most uncomfortable area.
Chuck it everywhere?
Yep, that's perfect. So as I said, I've already pre-rolled this. Now, some people will prefer to roll with either that way or that way. Really, it's a personal thing. One of the things that'll really factor into it is where you put your thumb. Now, personally, I find it very difficult to wrap this way with my thumb on it that way. All the tension goes against my thumb. I end up with a very sore hand at the end. I wrap this way. One of the other things that you'll see is that some people will wrap inwards and some people will wrap outward. And there's a reason for that. If you wrap in a particular direction, it can often put tension on the leg in that direction. So you're wrapping in a particular way. So what people will find is that if they wrap inward, it tends to pull the leg in. And if you wrap outward, it tends to pull the leg out.
Yep.
Now, you'd think probably, I guess most people would think that the logical thing to do would be to wrap out because you don't want the tension to be in. But interestingly, some people find that they like to wrap in with that tension and then they push against the wrap.
That makes sense.
But I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people that will wrap out. I don't want any kind of tension pulling my knees in.
Sure.
So basically, the way to remember is that if you want to wrap out, you start with the flap facing in. If you want to wrap in, you start with the wrap facing out. So it's pretty easy, but yeah, you just got to remember that, I guess. So what we'll look at a couple of different forms of wrapping. The most common wrap that you'll find out there and the most straightforward one is called the spiral wrap. I'll also show you a type of wrap that's called, they call it the sub-X. It's a combination of a spiral and a cross, and then the last wrap we'll look at is purely crosses. Now when you wrap a leg, the crosses are trying to create the sling type or the catapult type action that I referred to earlier.
Sure.
Whereas the spiral is kind of creating like a cast around the leg. Now, because of that, I guess you can kind of understand that the sling is more likely to provide rebound, whereas the spiral is more likely to provide the cast type. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yep. So, but the most common one you'll find is a spiral. As I said, we'll look at this one, the sub-X or the cross, and then the full cross one, which is full rebound. It's kind of the most kind of radical and the crazy one. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, one other factor, I guess, with knee wraps that we want to look at, and that's how you start and finish it. Now, it's obvious, you know, we've talked about the variety of different ways of wrapping, but one of the most critical things for a wrap is how you finish a wrap. It sounds silly, but if you're wrapping tight, the way you finish it off will, I guess, determine how tight you can complete the wrap, but also then how stable it is throughout the exercise, and then when you're trying to get out, when you're trying to get out of the wraps at the end, how easily you do it. So there's two different types. One is the standard feed through, and the other one is what we call the bow tie. The bow tie is a very popular form that's come about in powerlifting recently. It's the way that I wrap. It's the way that a lot of the top powerlifters wrap because it's rock solid, but also very easy to get on and off.
Cool.
So shall we start with some knee wrapping? Okay. So maybe we'll just pull this up just a bit, and we'll just, so we're gonna go wrap in, which means flap in, which means we're gonna wrap outward. Now what I want you to do is to straighten the leg, and you can basically relax in a straightened way. You want the patella slightly tightened, but don't pull it all the way up. Now one of the reasons for that is that the wrap is gonna hold the patella in position. So if it's relaxed and the patella sits low, it's going to stay in that position when the wrap is going to be inclined to hold it in that position as you move.
Sure.
So you want that area slightly tightened, not fully tightened, but slightly, and that's just really to protect the knee.
Yeah.
So if I get you to hold on to that. Now the first wrap is always going to be difficult in terms of putting tension into it because it's really about positioning it. Now I'm starting probably about a wrap's width above the knee. One of the critical things is getting the right coverage for it to wrap properly. So you've got to go from above the knee to below the knee, or from below to above, but to cover that whole area for it to work properly. Obviously if you cover one part and not the other, when it bends, it's not going to offer that support.
Yeah, for sure.
So the first wrap is not going to be particularly tight, but then once you get around, now's when you can start to tighten. So you're applying the tightness through here, and then again when you push down. Now one of the things that you'll learn is that the less wrap that you let out, the less it will kind of untighten backwards again. So you're letting a little bit out and trying to hold it tight, and then tightening again. And overlapping about a third of the wrap. And so this is basically a spiral going around.
Yeah, she's tight. Woo. Wow.
We'll start to spiral up again because we've got that coverage. And this is where the wonderful bow tie comes in. So we've got the flap here, and what you can do here is you just create the bow tie. So that's your spiral wrap with a bow tie. And one of the great things about that is if you stand up and try and bend your leg, yeah, well that's where your support is. But also you're going to find that the bow tie itself is not going to become undone. Now, the great thing is when you're finished, you pull your bow tie, and there you go.
Ball's undone.
Yeah.
Beautiful.